I guess on my hair, she look all right. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their book of shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Wow, so serious. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrence here, and in today's video, I'm bringing you a highly requested tutorial. Every month, I try to do a purple look for my friend Lorraine Johnson Coleman. I'll leave a video right here above explaining why we do that. But this month, I decided, you know what, Torrence? We're going to start a series called Use It or Lose It, where we pick 10 products from our collection, use them, and if for any reason we don't use it that month, you got to get rid of them. But in the middle of things, I start realizing, you all, we only got 10 videos left, 10 products. Would you all make an exception for the Minka palette from Adept Cosmetics? And everybody was like, you know what, honey? You might have to put one of those palettes to the side. We're not going to hold you up if you go ahead and get that. And baby, look at how she sparkles. Look at the color variety, the texture, honey. We got mattes. We got some high shine foil metallics. We got multi-chromes, and get into this stunning packaging. You all know Adept has been redesigning things. I personally used to like the old grungy packaging, but I got to admit, this has a much more luxury look to it. They included the new raised logos here instead of the stamped in ones, and I'm feeling it. But you all already know, there's no such thing as a perfect palette, honey. If you don't make it yourself, there's always something about a palette you want to switch around. So even though I am adoring and loving this look, there is a little suggestion I have for Adept Cosmetics on how I personally think this palette could be better. But if you want to know about that, you're going to have to wait to the end. So before we get into this tutorial, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. If you've already hit subscribe, I want to say thank you, honey. We done already hit 1,000, baby. And if you haven't hit subscribe, go ahead and hit it now, honey. You could be there when we hit that 2,000. Like, the numbers is growing, honey, and you want to be here for that celebration. But before we get into this tutorial, I know how helpful swatches are, so let's go ahead and get into them. First off, I wanted to show you all the outside packaging. It's very beautiful. It comes off as a very neutral gold. The thing is, the packaging on this is extremely reflective. And with me showing you all this on a ring light, there is going to be a glare and the screen may even get dark. So what I'm going to do is start to flip the palette so you all can see exactly what it looks like on my end. But I didn't want to get just one entire screen with everything dark. So I'm going to show you right now. The color is very nice and beautiful. And as you can see, it has a nice neutral gold tone to it. But whenever you try to show off the flip to it, the camera lens is trying to catch up to it and things can get dark. And I did not want you all to have an unrealistic view of the tone of this palette. If I were to just come back, you all can see it's still a little hard to get the true hue of it, but this palette is absolutely stunning and you'll be able to see more what it looks like in the tutorial. But I wanted to make sure you all can see a close-up view of the texture and the color of the palette before we get started. Once inside this palette, there are 12 beautiful shadows. We have 8 high foiled shimmers. We have 2 multi-chromes and 2 mattes. Once again, I am going to show you what the packaging looks like, but you can see before I even start that there is a reflection on it. And I wanted to make sure you can see the hues and the tones and the flips of the multi-chromes, the shine of the foils, and the depth of the mattes. So we're going to go ahead and try to see if we can catch this without the glare, but I doubt if it'll be possible. And you can see these shades are stunning. But now that the screen has gotten dark, you see I have to turn it down a little bit just so my camera can catch back up, because I did not want you all to think that the colors are all just extremely dark and similar. There are different undertones and different hues, and I wanted to make sure that my camera can catch that for you all. That first row of neutral to cool tone foils are stunning. In the second row, we have multi-chromes, we have shimmers, we have colorful shades, and baby, I am loving them all. Normally, I would have swatched everything one time over no primer. Today, most shades are the same. The thing is, shade number 7, which is Luna, and shade number 9, which is Cora, were swatched twice because they have much more of a cream-like formula. They didn't even feel like a powder, whether you were putting your finger into it or brush, and the texture moved very easily. So those are one of those shades where if you were to drop them where they were to crack, you could easily repress them with your finger. So I would like to know what they apply like with a brush, because as you can see, they are very sparkly, but with the finger, those two shades do come off rather sheer. Alright you guys, let's go ahead and get started. As with all tutorials, all tools and products used will be in the description bar below. So if you ever want to know what I'm wearing or using, just make sure you check out there because I'll make sure I'll leave it. But enough talking, honey. Let's get into this beautiful bad baby here. She got me excited, honey. We got mattes, we got metallics, we got dual chrome. No, not dual chrome, multi-chromes. Even better, honey. So it's like, Torrence, do you want to take it over the top or do you want to sit back? And because my last tutorial had us doing the most, we're going to try to keep it simple today, but I can't promise y'all nothing. So, because we only have 2 mattes, honey, it's no point in lying. We already know what we're about to do. We're going to take this first shade here, Toya. It's our lightest matte, and we're going to use this with our largest blending brush, and we're going to use that for a transition shade throughout our entire crease. And I have my Redford 27. We're just going to tap off our excess, and we're going to go in and build this color up, honey. I want this color to be loud and vivid because we're doing a purple look. And I almost forget, baby, you know every month we do a purple for Lorraine, so we're going to dedicate this video to my dear friend, Lorraine Johnson Coleman, honey. This is going to be absolutely stunning. I don't have to tell you all, you know, ever since Adept Cosmetics has come into my life, I think the very first palette I bought from them was either Plain Jane or Ninhydrin. I'm not sure which one. I think it may have been the original Plain Jane, and then I had to pre-order Ninhydrin. But either way, I've been in love with those shadows ever since, and that first layer is giving us a nice soft transition, but I want a little more color. I've already dipped in my brush, but wanted to explain that before we go in with the second layer and build her up. And yes, ma'am, we're getting more pigmentation on this second layer. And we just need this to be a soft color to diffuse our crease shade into. With me having hooded lids, I love me a dark crease shade, but because I love dark shades so much, transition shades are usually necessary to make sure I don't have harsh lines. And baby, that is a soft, beautiful lilac purple there. So we're gonna do this on the other side and be right back. Next up, to deepen up our crease, we only have one last purple shade here. It's this shade here, Maria. And I'm gonna take this with a slightly smaller blending brush, and I'm debating. I think we're gonna go ahead and take this not only throughout our crease, but also on our inner and outer corners, just to go ahead and create a halo eye. And baby, this color is pigmented, so definitely gonna tap off our excess there because I do not want to do too much at once. Gonna start on our outer end, lower part, and build that throughout. Oh yeah, baby, I'm glad I went in slowly with that. I want to make sure I build this color up and out, but I don't want her to take over my transition. And where were we before that? Oh, talking about my purchase history. Baby, when I tell you, every single time Adept Cosmetics say they coming out with a new palette, I'm sitting right there waiting on swatches, waiting on the reveal color story, because it's like, baby, you all have never let me down. And I'm glad we went in real soft with this shade here, because baby, you see, you got to build her up. But if I would have went in with all that pigment, I would have messed myself up. So what I want to do is go in one more time. I'm going to do it once again where we're going to keep this low in the crease. I want to build this up, but I want this color to stay as low as I possibly can to get as much pigmentation down into the crease as I can possibly get it. Because when we cut this, we might lose a whole lot of that color. And look at her, baby. Honestly, I'm loving the tone of this because even though this shirt is gray, that purple is picking up on some of that. And before I go in and do my inner and outer corner, actually no, we can go ahead and, no. They'll let you know I'm trying to do too much today, you all. I'm gonna go ahead, do the crease on the other side, and then when we come back, I'll do the inner and outer corners. And baby, I think this might be the second, if not third video in a row, so I know I need to go wash my makeup brushes, because y'all know I love cutting my crease with my NYX glitter primer and my Morphe brush, but I do not know where I put it, so it has to be in that container over there full of dirty brushes. And I got several of them, but it's one particular Morphe brush that I like to use the most. And if she dirty, I don't care how many backups I got, I just don't trust those. So we just gonna stick with this e.l.f. concealer brush. She'll get the job done, but she not gonna be quite as precise. But you know what, we ain't gonna let that stop nothing. So we gonna go ahead and prep our lids and get ready for the next step. Not worried about too much precision, but I wanna make sure I cut my lids as high as possible and as deep in the crease as possible. So we just gonna stick our brush right there in the socket, push it all the way up to see, and rock it back and forth and see how high that line goes. And you don't necessarily have to cover up your entire, your outer V area, but I find that it makes it a little easier to get a little more pigmentation in that inner and outer corner with that glitter adhesive down. And on this side, I might have pushed that that glitter primer a little high. So we're just gonna cut our crease a little higher. And remember to do that on the other side. Baby. And baby, y'all know I love me a good multi-chrome. I love me a good multi-chrome, but I've been playing with a lot of those lately, so I'm gonna try my hardest to bring something back to this to keep it soft and neutral. And we're gonna take this shade here, Maya, and we're gonna put that in the center of the lid. Out of all of those neutrals on the top, she seems to have the most pink hue to it, and so that's the one I wanna go ahead and see. Okay, you all know I'm gonna keep it honest with you every time. The brand put out a statement letting it be known before you purchase this palette, it is truly something to be used with the fingers. They did not recommend a brush at all, and they stated that. I just tried to pick up some product up with a brush, and it was like, yeah, that's gonna take a while. And because I'm truly not a fan of using my fingers, I have the silicone applicator here, picked up beautifully. It is a ton of product right there. So we're gonna try this instead, and we're gonna put this on the center of the lid and see what kind of look we get, honey. Ooh. Y'all saw just that one little swipe, sis. The pigmentation and the shine on this does not play. Oh my goodness. I know y'all can see that on camera because I'm sitting here looking at it right here. Oh. I haven't even dipped a second time yet, and there is plenty of product to go around. Like, do you all see the beam on that? Like, are you kidding me? I'm scared to double dip because I don't want to have too much product on my brush or my silicone applicator. So what we're gonna do is we just gonna leave that like that. I'm gonna try to smooth out those edges a little bit, and then we're gonna have to move on because just, yeah, no double dipping with this color. Like, look at the beam on her. Now I want to add a little more depth and dimension into the inner and outer corners. So we're gonna pull our palette back out. We're gonna go back into this shade Maria and our smaller blending brush, and we're gonna pack that shadow on in those areas. Okay, we wanna pick up as much product as we can. On one side, she's clean. On the other side, we got a ton of product. And we're just gonna slowly press this in. And we wanna try to start low and build our way up to that crease. And because we put that tacky base down, the outermost point will be a little darker than the inner area, which we want. And once we feel as if we have close to the shape we want, then you can slowly start to blend that up on top of the shimmer to diffuse the lines. We want to pack this on both areas first. And then slowly bring it up to diffuse the lines of that shimmer shade. And it's okay if it's not perfect, honey. You can always go back and forth with a little shimmer or a little matte. Sometimes I find that if you go a little extra with the matte, you can always come back with that shimmer and diffuse the edges. But because I have the matte brush in my hand, that's the brush I'm trying to use, and you can see how dark that color is right here where that adhesive primer is compared to where we just had it up there in the crease. But we're just gonna place that in there. And we'll do this on the other side. And if you want to, you can stop here, but because I like to have a little more depth and dimension on my hooded lids, I'm gonna take my smallest blending brush, and we're gonna go back into the shade Maria here, and we're gonna take a tiny little bit and buff it right above the edges of that shade there. I want that crease shade to peek through a little bit just to give me a little more definition. And I'm gonna tap my brush into the product, tap off the excess, and I just want the smallest amount of color. We're gonna push this right into the socket there as far as we can get it and just barely push that across the top. We may get some fallout here and I'm okay with that, but I want that very edge and the top of that to be as dark as possible. And you can see compared to this side where it's a sharp line where we cut our crease at the top, on this side, it looks a little more diffused and it looks like that light color is coming from behind that crease. And that's what I want. Baby, I'm looking like that's a whole lot of purple around the eyes. And we ain't through yet. So what I'm gonna do is cut away, finish off the face, and when I come back, I'm gonna show you how we're gonna finish off the lower lash line. All right, you guys, we are back and I'm here to tell you, I had to calm myself down. I've been sitting around like, okay, Torrence, we know we want to play with makeup, but while we off camera, go ahead, play you a little music, get your groove going, and y'all know, I love me some Whitney. I love Whitney Houston. I love Whitney Houston. Mac and Whitney Houston then finally did a collab. It's UK only so far, but I know it's coming to America, and I'm like, stay calm, Torrence. You don't got the money. Y'all pray for my heart and pray for my wallet, because I need to change the subject because I'm going to start hyperventilating trying to figure out how I'm going to get it. And that's why I'm wearing some MAC products right now. I always leave all my tools and products in the description bar below. Most of the stuff that we're wearing on the face is stuff that we actually wore in our last tutorial. So I'll make sure I leave that link right here above. It's not much to go over. So the few items that I did try out today, I want to show you all. First off, lips, because talking about MAC, this is the MAC lip pencil in the shade Plum. I figured since we have a purple eye going on, we can go ahead and get a purple lip to match it. And I'm sitting back like, that collection don't got a lip liner, but we don't have to worry about it. Keep it going. With this, I filled my lips in entirely, and I wasn't sure if I just wanted to top it off with a gloss or one of these shadows. We'll figure it out as we're going along. On the lower lash line, my favorite purple eyeliner, my Psychedelic Sister by Urban Decay. And today I decided to skip powder contour. Lately I've been going back and forth. You all know I'm about to be finished with this one, and I told myself I'm gonna have to test out another one. So because she ain't got much left, I've been trying to stretch her out by doing cream contour underneath. Today I decided, Torrence, let's just see what the cream contour does on its own. Truly go in and do too much. Normally you try to go in and be soft because you know you have powder coming in after it. Go in, do the most, build it up, take it too far. And because I bake on top of that, baby, you don't see them harsh lines that I had underneath there, but you can tell. That cheekbone got a little suction going in right there, like, yes, baby, jaw is going. Nose might not be surgically looking snatched, but she still got a little definition to her, so I'm like, cream contour is getting it by itself. And that is the KVD cream contour in the shade Chocolate. So I have that. For highlighter, I decided to pull out an old favorite from MAC. Y'all know she's my baby, old darling. I just needed something to get through the look because I'm like, baby, I know I want that entire MAC collection, but my pockets, it shouldn't even be thinking about it. So we need to hurry up and finish this because I'm like, calm down, Torrence, it's just makeup, but it's Whitney and I want it. And so we just gonna finish this. I love you, Whitney. Okay, back to this tutorial because baby, you can't do the top half if you don't get the bottom half going. And I'm sitting back like, it ain't but 2 mats, so you already know what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a large pencil brush, go back into this shade here, Toya, and we're gonna buff that out across the entire lower lash line. And because we had to build this color up the first time, I don't mind piling it up on my brush. We're just gonna barely tap it off because I want most of that pigmentation there. And we're gonna start on the outer end and just connect that. This is just going to be a transition shade for our next color. I truly want some depth and dimension on that lower lash line. Baby, that dark purple didn't play on the top, and she didn't come to play on the bottom because, baby, look at that. We only need that one layer on the bottom. Not sure if you all can see that on camera. I think it is giving off a nice cool tone underneath the lashes, but I can see that in person for sure. Last on the lower lash line, we're going to take a push liner brush in our shade Maria again, and we're going to take that and push it very lightly, as close to the lashes as we can get it. I want more definition, but I don't want the bottom to be as dark as the top. And we're going to start on the outer end and get this close to the lashes. First I want to connect it to that outer end and then just press. And because this color is so dark, you may have to dip a couple times. Well, no, because my brush is so small. Because the pigmentation is there to drag it. But this itty bitty brush against my huge eyes, usually one color never goes all the way across. And that's it, banging, baby. Like, look at the depth and dimension we got on this side compared to that side, baby. Okay, now I'm sitting here flipping these back and forth like Torrence. We have to highlight our inner corner and our brows, and I'm not sure which shade I want to use. So just because she's standing there and she's really bright, I'm going to take this shade here, Selena, and we're going to use this for the inner corners. Then for the brow bone highlight, I want to go in with this shade here, Cora. We'll take that and put that there. And this shade here, Selena, picks up beautifully with the brush. So we're going to make sure you all are in view so we can get this on the inner corner. We're going to pop that right there. And I really don't expect this to be brighter than everything else because there is the potential it could be darker with that black base. But baby, no man, like none, boom, honey. So I want to take that, add a little bit more and connect it on the top. But we don't want to take it too far, because we don't want to cover up that dark shadow we have on the top inner corner. But oh, look at the shine on her. And now I have this shade here, Cora, on my brush. I have very little product and we want to just give the slightest amount of sheen. I want to try to start at the arch and make sure we don't put too much down. And although I am seeing those green reflective particles in there, I'm trying to see if it's giving off a sheen on camera, because I was hoping for a little more shine from this. So we can go back in once more. Okay, it looks like the sparkles are building up, but I'm not sure that's showing up on camera for you all. And because we have so much going on with the eyes, what we're going to do is keep the lips rather toned down. Just going to grab my matte clear lip glass. We're going to put a little bit on the finger, top the lips off, and then we'll just call it that, baby. I was going to use that multi-chrome, but considering we have one on the inner corner, that'll be all right. Tell y'all, you want a high shine clear lip gloss, you can't be here. And I'm just going to go ahead and top this off right here. I like to put it in the center first, toward the middle of the lip, and then let it blend out. So you can see the edges really don't have any right now. And I try to blot first because I have a strong cupid's bow and I don't like the rounded end of my bottom lip to make a straight curve across the top. So I usually just try to press the gloss up into the corners there and let it migrate everywhere else. Okay, now that has a little more shine to where it won't come off as just flat matte. Alright you guys, this is all we're going to do for the face, and there's no point in doing all this work if we're not going to lock it in, so grab your setting sprays because you know I'm about to grab mine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy do. All Nighter, so things will last all day. Cheap Fan, Expensive Breeze, Good Times. I'm going to give this a few more moments to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And here's the final look. I want to go ahead, give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm here to tell you all, this palette is really beautiful. I'm absolutely loving this sparkly new formula that they have. High shine, high beam, like it does not matter what colors you pair this with, they are going to be seen, they are going to stand out. The thing is, you already know, I don't consider any palette perfect unless you put it together yourself. So just like all palettes, this palette does have its pros and cons. So let's go ahead and get into it. Pro, packaging, sleek, beautiful, raised piece here, giving you a luxury feel. We have a mirror inside, 12 shades, multiple formulas, and for me, I know many people find that as a pro. When you can go in and do an entire eye look in one palette, most people, that's what they want. Me personally, that doesn't matter. I don't mind a mixture or a palette where it's all shimmers or all mattes, because coming from a freelance background, usually I wanted all formulas in one palette just to make sure I didn't have to worry about transfer. The last thing I wanted to do was dip into a glitter shadow and have some of those chunks fly into a matte shadow. No man. But this here, I was sitting back like, okay honey, let's get her going. I got neutrals on the top, I got colorfuls on the bottom. Let's get it popping. The con with this palette. For me, if you are the type of person who only likes to use one palette to get an entire look done, you may have issues when you realize the only two mattes we have are purple mattes. If you're someone who does not like wearing purple mattes or purple on an everyday basis, you may find that you like this palette as a companion palette, which is what I initially purchased it for. I knew going in that if you only gave me purple mattes, anytime I wanted to possibly do a green look with some green mattes, or probably pop that on the center, maybe even do a blue look and put this blue there, or maybe a neutral look and just pop one of these shades here on the top, I would always have to dip into something else for those mattes. And to me, that isn't an issue because I have, let me see, these are all of my Adept palettes. I got 4 in this hand, 4 in this hand, plus the Minka. And so when I first got into the brand, palettes like this, Plain Jane, absolutely fabulous. And she was all shimmer, like all shimmer. And I knew that. I knew this was going to be that lid topper shade. No problem. Then they came in and gave me a purple palette, Ninhydra. The thing about this is you see all those colorful bold shades. What made this palette so beautiful to me is although I believe ACM 31 has a purple undertone, this one here has much more of a neutral, maybe even green undertone to her, so it gave me variety. With the mattes and Minka, I'm only going to be able to create a purple smoke. I know me, I'm not going to be able to see bold purple mattes like this and go in and go a little soft. I'm going to always take them, build them up, blend them out, and they're going to stand out on their own. So I would always have to reach in for other mattes. And considering the fact that for me, another con is I don't like 2 of these shades. There are 12 shades here. The 2 mattes here, beautiful. The 2 multi-chromes here, beautiful. These high shine foil shades here, that top row, stunning. But 2 shades here, where are they? Luna, which has like that blue flip to it, and Cora, which have that green flip to it, I don't like them. I do not like those shades. I understand they said this is a palette where everything is going to work better with a finger. The thing is, with these 2 shades, they are so soft, they are so creamy, and I'm going to say almost putty-like, that I don't find that they work with a finger or a brush. I'm not sure if it's going to work with the silicone applicator because I had already used it to cover my lids with a different shade. But no ma'am, I don't like those two. And I'm sitting here looking at this palette like, Torrence, I wonder if, because I have a magnet right here, if I could just pop those two particular shades out. We're gonna put Cora right here, and we're gonna put Luna to the side. If I take those two out, it tells me, okay, what would you do to make this the perfect palette for you? I would put two neutral mattes in here, so that way anybody who wants to go colorful can use these two with those bottom rows. But for those, I would want some neutral mattes. And to me, the perfect two to add from this, from Adept's collection, would be the first one from Heather Austin's palette. I would take this warm neutral Atlas here, pop that down in there. So I'm about to pull her out. And then from the Amunet palette, I'm going to take and use this shade here at Imhotep. Now, look at this here. Tell me that is not much prettier than before. And when you look at it, you can see like, okay, Torrence, we got neutrals on the top and we got a transition and crease shade. And then we have those bold metallic purple duochromes on the bottom for those two shades. And to me, this just looks like a much more cohesive palette. I absolutely love it. And if you all wanted to see tutorials on either the Heather Austin palette, I love her, have a tutorial up for that, as well as the Amunet palette, got one up for that. And to me, this just looks like this would have sold a lot better because people would have seen the option to go neutral or go colorful. And considering the fact, like I said, these two shades here, this is Luna. She's gorgeous in the pan, but she's just so creamy, so wet that it doesn't seem like I can use her, and I honestly have no desire to. But I still truly do recommend this palette because 10 of the 12 shades are stunning. They give you no issues. The sparkle on these shadows is absolutely amazing. And the one thing I have to let you know is there is no glitter in this palette. There are some reflective particles, but they are very small. They are very shiny, but they are not glitters. And I'm just sitting here looking at this palette now like, is it this shade right here just really seems to warm it up and bring something to it. So I'm like, baby, I need Heather Austin to sell that as an individual because I just think this is much more cohesive. And I need to go ahead and pull those shades back out because I will forget about them and leave them in this palette. And it's like, no ma'am. Y'all have a natural home and we got to put y'all in that. All right, so now I have the shades back where they were. And as you can see, with those two original shades, this palette is beautiful. But you can see how taking out those two colorful shades that I really wanted to love, that I personally didn't, and replacing them with matte neutrals, it seems to make this palette even prettier. And to me, I don't mind popping out shades. So if you were to say, Torrence, would you recommend getting this palette? I say yes, as long as you understand that more than likely you're going to have to go in and use your own neutral mattes to get a complete neutral look. If you have this palette and you absolutely love that shade, Luna or Cora, please let me know how you got it to work because just on my first impressions, it has not worked. I will be attempting to use this palette again with a silicone applicator with those shades because it may honestly pick up a little better with those. It's just, you can't wear every shade in every tutorial. But I wanted to make sure I got this out for you all because you all were asking about it. I was happy to actually receive it. So I'm going to make sure I put them up with the rest of my palettes. And I'm sitting here going through all my collection like, Torrence, is there a palette that you have from Adept that you have not done a tutorial with? And I don't think so because I'm like, I got one for Kodan. I got one for Ninhydrin. I got one. I think I do have one for the Plain Jane and the Plain Jane Remaster because I have both of those here. I have Amunet New and Amunet right here. I have the House of e.l.f. palette. So it's like, baby, you see, I love me some Adept. I'm going to support them, but I got to be honest with y'all. And those two shades, Cora and Luna, yeah, we might need a reformulation on those Adept. But other than that, this new sparkle formula, baby, I'm gonna need some more of those because you see the way these colors shine. But what I would love to see is some really deep, dark neutrals from Adept with that formula. And I'm gonna make sure after I record this, I'm gonna email them and tell them that because I'm like, baby, the formula is beautiful. We need as many colors of that as we can get it. But I have a tutorial going up in about an hour. Y'all know I like to make sure I'm there for y'all when these videos go up. Although this is being recorded on Saturday the 19th, it will not go up till Tuesday. So we're going to make sure we have plenty of time to edit that. I want to say thank you once again to the love and support you all have been sending my channel. I really did not think it was possible for me to break that record for the Sydney Grace video. But that video right behind it, that Danessa Myrick's Lightwork Volume 3, views came through, bumped her out for a few hours. I think eventually the Sydney Grace did come back and take it for like most views in 48 hours or something like that. But still, the fact to know that every time I upload, y'all are coming through, y'all coming stronger each and every time, it's like, I love y'all. And I really, really do once again want to say thank you all for the love and support, because it's just been unreal here. Even my family be sitting back like, I don't know why you surprised, you've been working so hard. It's like, I know, but everybody on the platform works hard, honey. And it seems like my channel is so small, but it seems like I get all the love and support in the world. So for the last time, I'm gonna say thank you. But I don't want to keep blabbing, because you know I will not stop talking. So with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.